guys in chat at the minute. So thank you for joining. Thank you for saying hi. Norse, yep, we are all ready. We are about to jump into Champion Select for the first game. I believe some awesome person, Rook, or Rook, however you want me to say it, he's posted the ladder up there. So you guys can take a look. I think there's 38 teams that have signed up. And we're going to be following Team Wolves versus Felden. I believe it's a European side. No, I'm lying to you entirely. It's not even European. What is this flag? Is it Estonian team facing off against a bunch of Belgian players? So we'll have a look at the teams in just a second. Let's actually pull up the Champion Select screen. We're into the standard band picks. Shane and Morgana band. Nothing out of the ordinary, hey Norsey?
Nothing too. That's just solo top or a jungler in the mid. Pretty standard bands. Both have very, very strong lanes, so...
Quite interesting to see Urgot band there. Team Wolves on the left-hand side here, not wanting to deal with that.
Urgot is a supremely annoying champion. He can be quite powerful in lane as well. A Leeson band, that's another solo top or jungler.
Yeah, so it's a slightly off or on non-ordinary bands in the form of Urgot and Leeson. But we know that if you stick an Urgot Soraka bot lane, it's so difficult to deal with and so frustrating. I'd love for the people in chat at the minute to just let me know volume-wise, how are our microphones? Can you hear Norsey and myself clearly? And if so, if not, let us know. So, last two bands, Cogmore and Cassidy. How's your feelings about Cassidy, Norse?
Cassidy is a really good band, I think. He's very, very, very strong in lane. And with his ultimates, his Void Walk, he can clear the map quite effectively. So a blue buff Cassidy is really strong at ganking, which just helps, and he can still get back into lane.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty standard bands from PHL. Wolves putting out some AD carries, which you don't see very often, but
maybe it's to do with their strat. Maybe it depends who they want to play in that bottom lane. I have cranked up my microphone just a little bit there. And you see what we noticed from Wolves was a very safe Janna pick, almost insta-lock. I don't know if you watched any of the Go for LOL on Sunday, Norse, but that was the most popular insta-lock pick.
Janna has actually for quite a while been a very popular support though, from what I can tell. She's so disruptive for the melee heroes, especially for the likes, I mean, Warwick's ultimate, she can interrupt it, knock Ahri up mid-pounce, it's really, really nice. And then her ulti for, knocking people into danger or out of it is also very nice.
Yeah,
really good.
That's very true. Taking a look at the counter picks now. Is it Felden? We'll get the name up in a second and we'll destroy it with our South African accents. But a Warwick and an Ahri pick. And I think that's quite brave. Picking your center mid so early, especially somebody like Ahri, it's going to allow it to be counter picked. Maybe picking up a Fizz or a Rise. Maybe even a Cassiopeia, just telling her to sit down and shut up with that petrifying gaze. And Warwick could go top, could go jungle. I don't know if I like him in the jungle. He's too slow.
I don't know. I actually really like Warwick as a jungler because you can play. You can take your boots and pots as a start as opposed to cloth armor and pots, a lot safer than on most other junglers. Definitely a safe pick. He can farm his way back into the game quite easily, and the suppress is also. I mean, there's a lot to be said for a Warwick suppress because a few seconds and he can put out a lot of damage for it.
Yeah, really frustrating. That infinite duress. He just jumps on you, stabs you in the face a couple of times with those claws, and just noms you down. Nocturne Graves locked in for Team Wolves on the left-hand side. So that's going to be a Janna Graves in the bot lane. So it's going to be a huge burst from buckshot and collateral damage. And interestingly, we've got now a Riven and Sivir pick on the bottom lane. I like Sivir. I think Sivir's a good counter to Graves. That spell shield just preventing at least one of the big bursts. And Riven in the top lane, I haven't seen too much of Riven. Do you know a lot about Riven, Norse?
Riven, I think Riven is a really, really disruptive champion. Good call on the Cassiopeia there. I think Riven is quite a strong pick for the jungle or for the top lane with, she's got the dash, the knock up, the stun. She can be quite tanky. I don't know. It could go either way with the Riven and Warwick, one in the jungle,
Uh,
one in top lane.
yeah, I've also seen that as well. A couple of Riven junglers, but I don't know if they're going to stick. Riven's a slightly more unorthodox jungler, but now you got the likes of Vladimir on top. So if you were sitting with PHL, who are you going to be throwing in that top lane? Warwick with a little bit of the sustain, or Riven with the CC and the ability to sort of get away from Vlad?
Um, See, that's a really tough one. I think on that, okay, I think on that personally, I would put Warwick up top. Um, Riven has quite a fast, clear space, or clear speed in the jungle, and with her disruption at level 3, you can counter jungle really well just with, knock up and stun. You can keep the enemy jungler, silenced for a few seconds and either just come in and harass him to force him to use pots or, actually go for the kill or to steal some of the buffs, just sneak in, steal it, and sneak out really fast. So I think personally I would put Riven in the jungle. And then also obviously Warwick has the sustain for up top against the Vlad because the longer a game goes on, the more poke Vlad gets. So
Yeah, it
you
is
want someone
true.
who can.
It is true, but at the minute, it looks as though Warwick's going to be going into the jungle for PHL. I don't know. I'm not convinced by that. I agree with what Norse was saying. I think it would have been smarter to put Warwick on top. He can at least use that Hungering Strike, his Q, to pick back some health and keep himself somewhat sustained if he goes for the likes of a Chalice of Harmony. But I mean, look how these lanes are going to be meeting up. It's going to be Cassiopeia versus Ari in the middle. And part of the reason Cassiopeia is considered a counter to Ari is with her Spirit Rush ultimate, she dashes forward towards an enemy. And Cassiopeia can just tell her to sit down and shut up. Put that petrifying gaze on her, lock her up, and then blow her up with a poison. So that tends to be the reason, she's considered a partial counter at least. Rise is slightly bigger. You've then got Vlad versus Riven on the top lane, Nocturne and Warwick in the jungle, and then a Graves Janna versus Siva Soraka. So let's pull up the ladder. Oh, wrong button. For those of you who haven't seen it, let me quickly stick it into the chat as soon as my laptop decides to react. There we go. So here is the ladder for today's competition. And here it is. You'll see we've got, I believe, 36 or 38 members. We're going to be following the second match of the day here, which is Team Wolves versus PHL. Team Wolves from Estonia. They've drawn an elephant wolf thingy as their logo. Oh, I'm not sure what it is, but we'll let it be. Facing off against Felden. Felden fairly active on the games, and wow, Team Wolves really active. We followed them for a couple of matches in the Go for LOL quite recently. Link is banned, so if it was banned, my bad. You guys can check it out on IRC. It'll be thrown up there. And yeah, we've pretty much just got to find a minute and a half to kill. So who's going to win their lanes, Norse? Where's your prediction?
I think up top, we're most likely going to see a Vladimir knocking that Riven back in the early game. Hopefully he won't pick up too much of a lead because that could be quite debilitating.
I'm gonna change it around. I think Vlad's gonna win mid game, but early game Riven's gonna win. Because remember, transfusion from Vlad has got about a 9 or a 10-second cooldown at level 1. So he's only really gonna be able to put hurt down once that drops to 4 or 5 seconds.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think Vlad's a little bit stronger because on the same note, Riven doesn't have that pure power until at least level 3.
Yeah, when she can combo her knock up and stun.
Yeah, and then also on top of that, if you play a little bit defensive, and you level your shield up, you won't have your full combo until level 4 or 5 even. So I think that'll be an interesting lane to play out. I hope Cassiopeia can win in the mid. I'm a bit biased. I prefer Cassiopeia to Ari when I'm playing mid. But I think especially against an Ari as Cassiopeia, where a lot of your damage comes from making sure your poison hits, it's quite a difficult one.
It's going to be up to the charms as well. If
Yeah.
Stents on Cassiopeia gets caught by any of those charms, then it's going to be huge chunks of damage. So if Stents can avoid them, then maybe I agree with that. I think Cass can take the mid lane. And Sivir Soraka, that's probably going to be quite a passive bottom lane, I would... Well,
Well,
maybe...
I don't actually know. I think a Sivir Soraka, because Sivir can spell shield to get some mana back, and from the Janna whirlwinds, even block one or two of the Graves moves. And Soraka can sort of keep her mana topped up as well. So you'll be able to see quite a few boomerangs going on. I think they could probably play a decently aggressive game, as long as they don't give too much early.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually agree with that. I've forgotten about the fact that Sivir's going to have pretty much free mana because of the Janna whirlwinds or Janna tornadoes. Looking at skins, though, I did this for Go for LOL, and I'm going to keep doing this. The team that's got the most epic skins is the team that's going to get my love. So at the minute, this Warwick skin is too cool. The Hyena Warwick, I mean, come on, this takes you back to Kruger National Park, doesn't it, Norse?
Yeah, hyenas in the fence throwing rib bones at them.
Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, Kruger National Park is a animal sanctuary that's bigger than the United Kingdom put together. So it's pretty huge. And Warwick's arms on this skin, they're abnormally large. Take a close look at it when we load up into the game. I'll zoom into this. I think it's called Feral Warwick is the skin, isn't it?
I would agree with that.
I think we'll go check it out. But look at his arms. He's got orangutan arms. He can scratch his ankles without even bending down. It's just a bit awkward. And isn't this the World of Warcraft Night Elf Druid thingy, Soraka?
That I couldn't tell you the name of that Soraka skin, which is disgusting considering I consider myself a Soraka player. But it definitely is the probably the best Soraka skin that I've seen of the options.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. So finally, Hamster Wheel's almost done, and we get into the game. What I do notice though is no summoner heal for PHL. Belgians deciding not to go for it. And Team Wolves have 2 summoner heals, but no exhaust in the bottom lane. So that's going to be interesting. If Sivir can get the exhaust onto Graves in the right time, it's going to negate a lot of that damage from the buckshot and the collateral damage. So I like to turn off my chat. Norsey, if it's your first time to spectate a client, numbers 1 to 5 and Q to T will select the champions. So that's pretty cool. I do need to crank up my mouse movement speed though. Someone's been fiddling with my settings.
Quick shot and his mouse sensitivity.
You know what it's like. Anybody that's played a game at any sort of high level, if your mouse isn't right, it's just not comfortable. A little bit FPS lag here. So let me know on the video if there is any lag, guys, just so I can do some sort of double check or make sure it's running. And it looks like a defensive start. Team Wolves chilling up at the top here. Riv's Master having a little bit of a giggle with Vlad. And it looks as though PHL setting up defensively around their blue buff. So nothing too exciting for the start.
Both teams setting up to defend their junglers at blue. Pretty standard start. Riven protecting red, it looks like, trying to.
Well, there's a CV now from Wolves. They put a CV up near the red buff, and between the first and second turrets. There's also a ward going down. A bit of a strange positioning on that ward. It'll give vision of wraiths towards red. So I can understand the thinking behind it, but I would have just put it in the brush. They're going to steal the big wraith. Most of the creeps going to Nocturne. And just one of them going to Graves. I didn't see which one though. It wasn't the big one. Well, it may have been actually. My math is terrible.
What a decent ward from Wolves there.
Yeah, I would rather just put it in the grass. It gives good vision, but why not just put it in the grass? It'll still do the same job, and you can see them coming in earlier,
Yeah, I think a little bit closer actually to the lane would have made it a bit better, so it could cover river and that entrance. But I suppose they're probably trying to see if they can't catch that Warwick out, maybe.
And we've got some pressure on the top lane already. Level 2 Nocturne coming in against Vladimir. If he can land a fear, this may be enough. There's the paranoia. The stun misses as well.
There's the fear. Oh, the fear didn't get off. The paranoia didn't get off.
But it was a flash burned. I mean, not too bad. At 2.5 minutes, Riven without a flash and taking a big chunk of damage. That's going to help Vlad quite a bit. So there's some pings there on Warwick. Just as mentioned earlier, there's that ward earlier. Remember, guys, wards win games. It's that simple. If you're not warding and not putting vision, you don't really know what the enemy team is doing. So keep it up as long as you know, as and when you can. And if you're a support player, only put the wards down when it's safe to do so. So where's your attention at the minute, Norsi? Where's the kill lane? Who's going to pick up first blood?
I'm watching Vladimir top. He's... I think that early flash burn on Riven has set him on the back foot. Having to pick up his shield early. Let's see what he's got. Yeah, he's got 1 point into his runic blade. So I think, oh sorry, 2 points into key burst and 1 point into his valor. So he's got his shield to try block off some of that Vladimir's harass, but I think that advantage from the early Nocturne gank is going to set him quite far behind.
Well, saying that, it's quite interesting. Look at the farming. Vlad is sitting on 9 CS to the 13 of Riven. So even though there was that pressure, moving on a lane and trying to harass the champion, trying to chase into the tower to put some damage down, does mean that he misses out on some CS, misses out on some farming. And of course, early game, it's all about the creep score, guys. It's all about who can get those big items first.
Got red buff Warwick coming in top here. This could be interesting. There's the stun off Riven.
Ghost blown by Riv's Master, managing to get away from Warwick. Warwick wasn't able to get that Q. He wasn't able to land the Hungering Strike down. And from a few patches ago, remember that if you've got the red buff and you've got a single target spell, so there's no AoE element to it, it'll also apply the tick of the red buff. So if Warwick could have gone in range to land a Q, it could have been a slow and maybe a bit more damage, but Vladimir playing very, very smart, using that ghost and just getting out of the way, getting out of the damage zone. Some aggression on the top lane. And this is what I was talking about now. Vlad popping his Sanguine Pool a little bit early there, I think. But just trying to negate some more, mitigate some of that damage from Riven in the early phases. So, back to farming. Just as I turn off the scoreboard, I want to talk about some CS. 25 CS for Graves to the 21 of Siva, and some big damage going down. Strangely though, because of a double-click Boomerang Blade and the Ricochet, Graves actually comes off worse in that exchange. And a really, really good spell shield from Siva blocks the buckshot. And then she just takes the small bit of damage from the Howling Gale from Janna.
I think Soraka's silence actually also gets underrated as damage output, because I mean Graves taking a few Starfalls there puts his magic resist down, and then a silence comes in, can actually be quite devastating. Obviously Siva throwing those Boomerang Blades as well. If you don't dodge those.
Yeah, the Boomerang Blades have got some great low-level damage. I mean, level 2, it's 105 physical damage if you're the first target that gets eaten by it. And it does get reduced for each target, but we've got a ping in the middle lane now. Nocturne is coming in, but it's a level 6 Ari, so she's going to be able to use a Spirit Rush, easily jump away. Again, I don't think it was really worth the Spirit Rush. Nocturne wasn't in range to get a Duskbringer, and he was only level 4, so he wasn't really going to be tower diving. But nevertheless, better to play safe, and look at the top lane. Look at the damage onto that Riven. This might be the first blood lane, like you were saying. Here comes Nocturne. They're considering a dive. But he's only level 4, and Nocturne's only got a cloth armor, so he's not really going to be able to take too many turret hits, or turret hits to the face. And see what happens. They're moving in, though. Or at least Nocturne is setting up. Warwick's coming to the top lane as well, so this is going to be a bit congested. 4 players, and there's those giant arms I was talking about.
Looks like they're looking for Nocturne.
They are looking for him at the minute.
Could be...
Emo plate from Vladimir comes down, so that is absolutely fantastic. That's going to be first blood into Riven. Nocturne is going to go down in exchange, but Vladimir may be able to pick up a double kill. Nocturne does in fact get the kill credit for first blood. Riven, of course, picking up the kill in return. And there's Ari now.
Ari
This is going to
comes
be a
up
dead
top.
Vladimir. Still surviving. Tides of Blood down. Transfusion down. He did use Summon a Heal to try get some hit points back. But a Flash Hungering Strike from Warwick picks up a kill. And now Cassiopeia is wanting some. Is she going to burn a Flash for this? If you can get a full frontal Petrifying Gaze, might be enough to take out that Warwick. And look at this. This is an orangutan Warwick. His arms are too long for that character model. I'm sure of it.
It's not his. The one that gets to me is the claws on his toes look like they're extensions of his hand when he stands. So it looks like it goes on forever when really.
Well, just for the guys in chat to know, this is the first round of the ESL
Some
Champions
damage going
Cup.
down on Graves at bottom lane. Someone a heal is blown. Siva also going low, taking 2 hits from the turret there. Sorry to interrupt.
Not a problem at all. Rather try get down to the action, especially if there's going to be a kill. Interesting though, Graves opting to go for the farm instead of to push for the kill. So that's quite an interesting one.
I think it'll start coming out now. The difference between the sustain and the non-sustain lane, where Siva can get heals from Soraka, where Graves can't get heals from Janna, and obviously the shield is very nice because it gives him the damage boost, but at the same time, when you're low, the shield might not always save you, whereas a heal, does just a little bit more for staying in lane.
Yeah, it's true. We've got Warwick setting up in the middle here for a gank. He's got his ultimate up as well, so we got to be very careful because there's pressure on top and there's pressure on bottom, and here comes Warwick. No flash, though. We burned his flash earlier to pick up the kill on Vladimir, so no flash ulti from a Warwick. That Hyena not managing to pick up any kills this time around. Look at that damage from Infuse. What is Soraka leveling? If we click on, she's got 2 points into Astral Blessing, 2 points into Infuse, and there's Nocturne sitting up in the Tribush. He's also got Paranoia up, so there's the Paranoia straight onto Siva. She spell shields the Fear, pops her ultimate flash and summon a heal, and with a movement speed buff, that's going to be enough for Siva to get away. Huge damage going down to Soraka. They're going for the dive, and that's going to be a kill. One more turret hit. The shield almost enough to save Nocturne.
Double for Siva.
Double for Siva. Compliments of the Boomerang Blade, plus the turret damage. And just a little bit of overcommitment. Not enough communication there from that bottom lane. So they took too much damage, and while all that was going on, huge exchange happening in this middle lane as well. Spirit Rush has been used. It's on cooldown for Ari. You can see it on the right-hand side. So there was definitely an engagement. Petrifying Gaze still available for Cassiopeia though. So she's going to be able to survive. And yeah, a little bit of miscommunication on that top lane. Vladimir now putting some damage down. Hemoplague is available, so if he wanted to commit for it, he may be able to actually take out this Riven. Now we've got pressure in this middle lane. I didn't even notice. Ultimate Duration has been used by Warwick. But the damage from Spirit Rush, the damage from Ari's ultimate, not available for that gank. So they weren't able to burst down that full health Cassiopeia. And yeah, I agree with that. It was just an uncoordinated tower dive. That was really the core of the problem on that bottom lane.
I think that was also set up with a very, very good spell shield from Siva. She kept it in waiting for the Paranoia as opposed to using it to deflect the ultimate.
Pressure on the top lane now. Sorry to interrupt there. Vladimir, just you can see he's not comfortable with this Vlad. He took some pressure from a low health Riven, and instead of popping Hemoplague, Transfusion, then Transfusion, and then Sanguine, he actually popped his Ghost to try to run away, and it was very premature. That Riven wasn't able to actually win that fight, so I think Riv's Master not totally confident with his Vladimir in this top lane. Let's have a quick look at the items at the minute. 61 CS on Siva to 61 on Graves. It is completely even, but Siva with that double kill from the tower dive. Look at that. One hit from the Boomerang, 1 or 2 auto attacks, and there's the slow. Here comes Nocturne. Siva just moves straight out of it with the Berserker's Grief. She's got the natural speed. Full fear proc onto Soraka. Soraka almost gets away. Pops her. Didn't even use a wish.
Cassiopeia getting chased from the mid by the Ari. Ari pulling away.
Has Petrifying Gaze been used? Yep, it is on cooldown. So Cassiopeia has used it before.
Ari's ultimate's also on cooldown, so obviously there's a little bit of a fight going on there.
Move this camera into the right way. Sorry guys, I'm getting a bit of FPS lag on the computer, so my camera movement is a bit stuttery. Back on the top lane, here's the aggression now between Vladimir and Riven. And Hemoplague's still not being used by Vlad. I mean, Vlad can win this fight. He's just got to commit to it.
I think Vlad's just trying to keep him away from experience at this point, but if we look at the farm, 54 on Vlad, or 55 on Vlad now to 66 on Riven, it's not actually... He's not keeping him away quite as effectively as he would like. So even though Riven's got low life, he's or she's still sticking around.
There's the Hemoplague. Transfusion. Tides of Blood hits. If you can get one more transfusion, it might be enough. No.
No,
look at
the
that. The
mobility on Riven's just too much.
And look at Riven's items. Merc Treads and another Null Magic Mantle. So magic resist on Riven is already at 111. And that mitigates how much percentage damage? Oh, it doesn't show up at the minute, sadly. Infinite Duress onto Vladimir in conjunction with the Broken Wings and Ignite. This is going to be a dead Vladimir. Another Flash
used,
Hungering Strike.
Down.
It's enough for the kill. You don't really mind using Flash offensively if you can pick up a kill for that. And one or two messages in chat land there that there's a bit of lag. Let me know if there is lag, guys, because I am getting some FPS lag. It's definitely noticeable, at least on my side.
Cassiopeia being given blue.
Blue buff Cass is going to be even more difficult to deal with. Looking at the gold, though, it's pretty even. 15,400 gold for PHL and 15,100 for Team Wolves. So it's not a huge amount. So we'll have a look at the minute now. Once again, farm 83 to 77 in the bot lane. 62 to 51 in the jungle. That was what I was trying to say earlier. Warwick doesn't have the fastest clear time. And Nocturne is clearing quicker. On the top lane, 64 for Vlad to the 67 of Riven. So even with Riven being on the back foot and being low on health, he's actually got more CS. And now he's finished his Hex Drinker. So I think this is going to mean that Riven can win this top lane now. We've got pressure on the bottom lane. Graves not having used collateral damage, so his ultimate's still up. And in the middle, 97 CS to 92, so pretty even across the board. This game's going to be decided in the mid game. I mean, when these team fights break out, the 4v4s and the 5v5s, that's really what's going to determine who comes away the victor. Where's your attention at the minute, Norse? Where are you looking for the next game?
Watching in the mid, we've got a blue buff Ari versus a blue buff Cassiopeia. Warwick coming in as well. Cassiopeia taking that Orb of Deception from Ari took quite a chunk of her life away. Using a pot to get that back. Warwick coming in a little bit too early, it looks like.
And once again, no Flash Duress either. And another time that Whoopty-doo had actually used his Spirit Rush ultimate before Warwick had got up. So that wasn't the best, I don't think. 120 viewers that are hanging around. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the first round of the Champions Club. It's just a fun cup from ESL, purely for bragging rights. My name is Quickshot, and Norseman's in the background. Say hi, Norseman.
How's it, guys? Welcome to the stream.
And
thank you for tuning in to listen to the South Africans.
Yep, the gorgeous South Africans. And Darth Vader. Remember, Darth Vader's on my shirt. He wants to know who's your daddy. But we'll bring that up after this game. For the time being, though, pressure on the top lane again. Warwick thinking about coming in for a gank, but opting against it.
So looks like something's going to be going down up top here. Cassiopeia coming in and Nocturne. Warwick's just gone B. He's just taken a blue pill, so Riven's left on his own.
The lane is pushing, though. So there's Cassiopeia moving back to the middle lane. I wonder if Nocturne's going to come in with this paranoia. He's 2 levels below Riven.
Looks like he's going to go see if he can't steal Warwick's red.
Huge damage going down onto Cassiopeia. Completely missing her Petrifying Gaze as well. And Whoopty-doo and Stens really just not really using their abilities to the best, you know, their spells to the best of their own abilities. Whoopty-doo hit Cassiopeia with a full frontal Orb of Deception and a charm, and then used Spirit Rush to put some damage down, but didn't actually commit for the kill. It was almost like, hey, I've taken 2/3 of your life, but now I don't want to kill you. So a little bit of indecisiveness, a little bit of nervousness maybe coming from the two teams.
Very, very defensive play, actually. I think they're both trying very hard not to make mistakes. And that's sort of showing itself up as a little bit of hesitancy, but
yeah, that's definitely true.
Farming game.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you couldn't have said it better. The teams, they're nervous, they're hesitant, they're not committing, but on the top lane now, we've got an infinite Duresh onto Vladimir just before he pops his ghost. If Riven can get the stun down, it might be enough. She's going to use that broken wings, throw it out. This might be a tower dive. Look at that damage. Not willing to commit. And a really delayed Hemoplague there. That looked to me like it was a smart cast Hemoplague, anticipating a dive. Managing to poison the ground.
Cast, maybe?
Yeah, complete panic cast. That was a bit of a weird charm. Did you notice Nocturne got charmed in the middle and actually ran away from Ari instead of towards Ari? So that looked quite weird to me. Very, very strange. And let's be nice in chat, guys. Let's be nice in chat. Remember, for some of these guys, it might be the first time there's a shoutcaster in their game. And you never know. A lot of these guys, when I was looking at the load up as well, there wasn't any ELO ratings either. So it's maybe just normal player games, not some ranked players. Just having some fun. Pressure on the bottom lane. Eye of the Storm onto Graves. Going to be putting some aggression onto Siva. Not enough. Nothing to come of it, though.
This lane's quite back and forth, actually, because Siva and Soraka are pushing down to the tower and then getting knocked back and vice versa, so... Riven trying to get as much damage on the tower as she can on top.
Even with the deaths, having a look at the farm at the minute, 100 on Riven to 100 on Vlad. I mean, that's dead even. 124 on Ari to 131 on Cassiopeia. 109 on Graves to the 129 on Siva. So, Siva now slowly pulling ahead. But let's have a look at the gold graphs and see what that's showing. 5,000 gold on Siva to 4,500 on Graves. That's a Vamp Scepter difference. Not a huge amount at this point in time. And we're going to start moving towards the first tower going down within the next 5 or so minutes. That's usually the standard time frame. All these defensive games. The attack damage goes with some decent AD now.
Ari catching Cassiopeia out in the mid. Orbital Deception. Cassiopeia misses her ulti, and Ari takes the freshly gained blue from Cassiopeia in mid there.
Yeah, I missed that kill. Just caught it at the end. Spirit Rush to finish the kill. So well played by Ari. Finally committing to everything. So nicely done there. 120 guys that are hanging around. Thank you for joining. As I mentioned, there's the first turret kill. It was in mid. I was actually anticipating on the bottom lane because it's been back and forth so much. Top lane now, more pressure. Warwick's coming in. This is going to be another Infinite Durace gank.
Warwick's coming
Infinite
in
Durace, but...
Riven taking her time to join in on the fight. I think she's taken a little bit long to get there.
Brilliantly timed. Sanguine's pull there from Vladimir.
And,
now we're going to gank on the bottom
Graves
lane.
Goes down at the bottom. Looks like they're trying to dive for the Janna double kill.
Really well played. PHL, the really good pressure. Now Nocturne's coming to the top lane. Warwick has just recalled as well, so Warwick's not even going to be able to help for this. Where's the Paranoia? That's the Paranoia straight in. Stun was a bit early, actually. Hemoplague down with Transfusion. That's going to be a dead Riven. But not before Nocturne almost goes down in the process. And pretty good gank on that top lane. 8-4 is the score at the minute. 22,800 gold to 25,000 gold.
PHL up 2 towers.
And yeah, 2 tower advantage. That's the middle and the bottom tower going down for PHL. So the Belgians are taking a lead from the Estonians at the minute. What's Estonia famous for, guys? Do they do food or tourist or beaches or something? I mean, the Belgians have beer. So, I mean, who's going to win this? The beer makers or the insert something Estonian here? Someone in Chatland help me out. Give me some info. We'll wait for something to pop up there at the minute. And just back to farming once again. So it's been a pretty slow game. Ari coming into the bottom lane. You can see they're coming down, but there's lots of wards from Team Wolves, so they should see this. I mean, they would have seen this, surely. He has the call to come back. Spirit Fire or the Foxfire. The W of Ari putting some damage down. Brilliant charm landing onto Graves. She's committing for Janna. If she gets another Orb of Deception, this is going to be a kill. Slow goes down onto Ari, so she may lose her life for this. Poison going down. Wish use from Soraka. Ari running away. Soraka picks up the first kill. Ari still alive in and amongst all of this, not being able to get one more hit from Nocturne. Nocturne finally brings her down with the Duskbringer auto attack. Nocturne maybe going to pick up another kill if he can get in range of Soraka. Soraka using the Star Call to pick up a double kill there. Really well played. Fantastic coordination. Losing only Ari for 4 kills there. Double onto the Janna and Graves, and of course, Nocturne going down right at the end of it. Fantastic play, and I think the Belgians are probably going to take this at the minute. Skype was developed over Estonia, according to Deer Hunter Jim. So, thank you for Skype. It's now been purchased by Microsoft and ruined. And some pressure in this top lane. Third turret is down now at the minute. And it seems as though chat, everybody's in love with Methis. I don't blame you. She is pretty awesome. Thank you for bringing the viewers, guys. Thank you for hanging around and watching. My name's Quickshot, and my younger brother, his name's Norseman. And we're watching Team Wolves versus PHL. First game of the ESL Champions Cup. We'll be here all night, or at least I will. Norsey, you're going to hang around for a few hours, cast some games with me?
I'll stick around for a bit, see if we can't get a little bit better at this.
I like that. Brilliant, brilliant comment there in chat. And suddenly a wild Soraka appeared. Astral Blessing plus Wish was enough to keep Soraka and Ari alive for ages. Team Wolves blew everything they had just to take out Ari. And then, once they finally killed her, they had nothing left for the rest of the team.
Graves and Janna pushed really quite far forward here. Especially missing 2 towers in their lane.
Pressure on the top lane. Riven is really starting to beat this Vladimir around. He's got a BF sword, the best friend sword, or if anybody's played Quake, BF stands for something a little bit differently. I'm just not allowed to say that on stream. The giggle from Norse may give you an idea what it stands for.
I think that Hex Drink has really given him the advantage in lane, because the shield from it...
And looking at the bottom lane at the minute, look at this now. Beautiful charm landing onto Graves. That's going to be a dead Graves, almost. Finally blown up from the second tick of the Orb of Deception.
Ulti catching all 3 in the bottom lane. Though.
Not enough to save them, though. Ari moves forward and catches the charm, missing the minion by the skin of its chinny chin, hitting Cassiopeia in the face, pulling her backwards, and they get to turn the snake making, the stone making snake to stone. So there's the corpses of Graves and Janna littering the battlefield. And I think the Belgian team, the beer drinkers, are going to slowly pull ahead here. This might be the first inhibitor turret down.
Surprised Vlad hasn't pulled back, because he might lose the exterior to Riven if he pulled back, but really at this point an exterior for an inhibitor would be a worthwhile trade for PHL.
Interestingly though, I don't think any teams picked up the dragon. Did I miss a dragon, Norse?
I haven't seen any team going for the dragon actually. I was thinking about that earlier.
So we just got some pings now from PHL. A 25-minute Dragon's
looks
incredibly
like
late.
Going down up top.
Infinite Duress.
Into the Infinite Duress. Vladimir using Summoner Heal. Looks like we're going to have a tower dive, and that's Vladimir going down.
That was just melted. That was a really, really good combination of abilities there. Riven started the fight, kept Vlad in place. And the Infinite Duress from Warwick, that Hyena call coming out, and pretty much taking out the Vladimir without much pressure. Another turret going down, and the gold graph is starting to tick really high in favor of PHL. We've got the gold scores up in the minute, so you can have a look at exactly who the highest earners are right now. 8,700 gold on Siva, 8,400 on Ari, in comparison to 6,000 for Graves and 6,000 for Cassiopeia. I mean, 3,000 gold. That's a Rabadon's death cap. That's nearly an Infinity Edge. That's a huge, huge difference. Siva 505, Ari 417. And look at those items.
327.
327 support, kill stealing Soraka. Get some flame in chat for KS.
Soraka doesn't have a single gold per 5 item yet, it looks like. She's just gone straight in for the Shiralia's Reverie.
Well, she would have picked it up the Philo Stone first, obviously. That's one of the core ingredients. But yeah, you are right. Hasn't kept it ticking over, hasn't kept it. But they don't need to. You know, they got 4 turrets. They've got a dragon already. She's been involved in 10 of the 16 kills. So I think she's got enough gold. I mean, look at that. Giant's Belt is the next item on a Soraka. That's a bit unusual.
Looks like we may have a 5-man gank on Ari in the mid here.
Let's see. There's the Spirit Rush.
Spirit
Ari's
Rush away.
Completely gone. It is Spirit Rush, right? Yep. Spirit Rush. All 3 ticks. Gone completely out of the way. And nothing came of that one. So, Big Matter 16, I believe he's my biggest fan. Thank you so much for the love, man. Thank you so much for sharing the links and spreading the word. Quick shot here with Norseman, 2 South Africans. Going to bring you a little bit of the ESL Champions Club Cup. It's just a social cup, guys. It's just for bragging rights. It's just for practice. And Warwick coming down in this brush, standing on a ward, though. I'm telling you, this skin is just awkward. I don't like his arms. Let's have a look now. Are they going to do...
I don't think it's his arms. That's going to be... Oh, flash from Warwick gets him out of the danger zone.
And
Very,
Astral
very good
Blessing.
flash over that wall.
W heal from Soraka, giving him a huge chunk of hit points. So have a look what Soraka's leveling. 5 points into a heal, 4 points into infuse, and 3 points into Star Call. So taking a bit of damage. We heard a Cassiopeia ultimate. Beautiful petrifying gaze, but I don't think Cassiopeia's got enough to finish this off. She's taken too much damage from that Orb of Deception. Janna being forced to flash back on the top lane. We've now got some pressure onto Riven. Paranoia coming in. He's going to get the Fear. Dustbringer lands as well. Hemoplague might be enough to pick up the final kill, but there's the Hexdrinker shield has come up. Riven still is so elusive, getting away. Civ is going to pop the ultimate now. Red buff slow into Nocturne. Nocturne's being forced back, and all of a sudden, Nocturne's in trouble. Nocturne is going to be the next one to die for this. Warwick's joined the fray, along with his Hunter's Call. He's going to be able to keep pushing up. Huge infinite duration onto Vladimir, and that was terrible camera control, guys. I know that was bad. Sorry about that. I've got to slow down my camera scrolling, which I'm going to do in a second, but what fantastic play from PHL.
Excellent play from Silver there, flashing and exhausting the Nocturne, so even if he could catch the Riven, he wouldn't be able to land a hit, giving Riven that extra second just to get away.
And then landing the auto attack with
huge damage.
Yeah, and then auto attack with red buff as well, because not only did he exhaust Nocturne, the danger character, with a full Bloodthirster, a Phantom Dancer, and a BF Sword Pickaxe. I mean, it just melted Nocturne. We've got commitment now from 3 of the Team Wolves players, but nothing going to come of that. Can you believe it? Riven not only getting away with her life.
Push the middle tower. It looks like she may have some action in from the jungle, but she's just going to sneak off from the side and towards the enemy red. Excellent ward cover from Wolves. I'm surprised we haven't seen a from Wolves. Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen an Oracles out from PHL yet with the lead that they have. Yeah. The sheer amount of gold.
That is true. I think look through the champions. Not one of them with an Oracle's Elixir yet. Or I lie. Soraka's got it. That's probably a new purchase, I think.
She probably just bought that.
And yeah, 30-minute game. At the minute, turrets 4-0 in favor of PHL. The Belgian side is quite strongly in the lead. Let's have a look at the items. The Maw of Mortius has been concluded on Riven. Come on, guys. That's just such an epic name. You guys have to give it, a little bit of love, a little bit of epicness. Just like the Vladimir, that Lord Vladimir, Count Vlad, Epic Vlad of Awesome Vladness skin is particularly
It's also a phenomenal item for a double AP team. Because that shield, the magic resists to help against the Vlad, against the Cassiopeia.
Infinite duress onto Vladimir in the middle, though. Ari coming in from the side, manages to land an Orb Deception, but if she can get a good shot, fantastic petrifying gaze, locks up the entire PHL team, and this is a great fight for the team of Team Wolves. They only lost 1 so far. Janna has gone down. They've picked up 2 from PHL, and this is going to be some additional kills. Ari managing to pick up some kills as they're running away. 2 for 3 trade. Another fantastically huge Orb of Deception. Ari may get away with her life. That's a single-digit HP escape. I'm sure of that. Turning it around, 2 for 3. It was brilliant from Cassiopeia. She locked up the entire PHL team with Petrifying Gaze. But not having the buckshot collateral damage right over all of them meant that they couldn't blow anybody else up. So they straggling, trying to chase, trying to pick up those kills on the retreat. And Ari just kept throwing out that cube, just kept throwing out the Orb of Deception, and it was eating them alive. Ari's items at the minute, Rylai's Crystal Scepter, Rod of Ages, which will be almost fully stacked, and nearly a full Rabadons. So they pick up 2 turrets from that. Not a bad team fight, hey, Norsey?
Very good team fight, actually. I think there was also a really good smoke bomb from Graves at the start that caught 4 of the 5 members of PHL. So I think that definitely did help. A little bit of over-aggression and overconfidence from Warwick there. Initiated just before his team were all ready to go.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was the typical split pincer move. That's the problem. Coming in from 2 sides in League of Legends doesn't really work. You tend to be, you're not focused. It's 3 versus 5, and then it's 3 versus 5 versus 2. It's just a bit awkward. And I agree with that. Infinite
Soraka
duress.
losing her oracles in the fights as well. That's 400 gold. 400 gold she won't get back.
Yeah, but when they are 8,000 ahead, it's not really the end of the world, you know.
No, this is true.
This is true. So having a look at the items, they did manage to pick up Siva, so that was at least a reset on a portion of Siva's, what's it called, her...
Bounty?
Bloodthirster, sorry. And yes, of course, by taking down a 618 champion, they do pick up the bonus gold. I think that'll be max as well. That would have been max 500. And now just reset. I think that last team fight may have given a bit of confidence. But look at this Vladimir being caught out, taking huge amounts of damage. Having to pop his Zhonya's hourglass very early. Hemo play going down, but only managing to catch 2 champions from PHL. Broken Wings managed to pick up 1 kill and another petrifying gaze.
Getting 3 people.
Locks up 3 champions, but it's not enough to pick up a kill, or not enough to turn anything else around. It looks as though this Nocturne may go down. They lose 2 kills there, all of it standing from Vladimir being overextended. Vladimir was just caught by a stun, caught by a charm, and it just chunked down his HP, and that ended up losing them the plague. So, yes, Cassiopeia had a pretty good ultimate, locking up 3 champions. Vladimir's Hemo Plague wasn't really enough to turn anything else around, so 10,000 gold the difference now. And I'm just trying to see what the... Ooh, hello. That's a bad way to control the camera. Trying to keep an eye on the best way to control this camera. Sorry about this, guys. My sensitivity's all gone weird today. I'll have to fiddle with that in between game 1 and game 2. And now PHL heading back. They're going to shop, buy even more items. Look at this Siva. Phantom Dancer, Bloodthirster, Infinity Edge, and now starting to look towards that Last Whisperer as well, most likely. So, 142 viewers. Greetings, everybody. My name is Quickshot. And casting with me is Norseman. What's up, Norseman?
Not much. I'm just going to mention that Ori just finishing her Rabadon's death cap, so she's got a large chunk of life from her Rod of Ages and Rylai's. Also giving her some AP, but not quite as much, and then picking up the Rabadons, putting her closer to, putting her on 492 ability power, which is going to scale really well with all of her damage. I think that's quite a big buy, and with that much life, it's going to take quite a lot to get her down. She's slightly out of position here.
See what happens in the bottom lane now. Orbit Deception going out. Ooh, a little bit of a delayed update there. Cassiopeia hitting in the face, but brilliant, brilliant charm onto Vlad, and that's Vlad completely melted. Boomerang Blade plus Orbit Deception. This is going to be a dead Cassiopeia with the Ignite going down. Infinite Duress onto Janna. She's blown up in the meantime. You hear that snake screaming in the background of pain. And that is the difference between the fox and the snake. Foxes eat snakes alive when they're fed. And this fox lady, all 9 tails, wanting to eat this Cassiopeia every chance she gets. 8 to 25. This is going to be the first inhibitor down. And I think that's game. I think we can confidently call this one. Pretty strong lanes, pretty long champion, strong champion picks, and really great coordination.
2 dragons.
Only 2 dragons, yeah. You're very, very right there. Something to point out from PHL, they only picked up 2 drakes in a 35-minute game. And that's very unusual. And I think that's really just indicative of the team. You know, maybe not necessarily as high in the ELO ratings. Maybe not necessarily as practiced as some of the more professional teams.
It's like we have a 4-man push for Baron, and Siva's going to steal the Wolves red.
Which is interesting, because Siva's the main DPS champ, you know? So, yeah, don't get me wrong. Ari, Riv, and Warwick, they're going to be able to deal good chunks here, but
with Siva there, it would have gone down considerably faster, and especially with the 5-man Wolves now seeming to
and here comes
push
Nocturne.
up forward.
Nocturne may be able to pick up a steal here, so let's drop the
CV
scoreboard.
on the Baron pit, so Wolves know that PHL are there.
And this,
can they get in and get it with the half health?
They should be able to steal this. I mean, Siva's
like
miles away. Here comes the Spirit, and there's the free Baron given away to them. Vladimir gets blown up in the process. Just gets away with Summoner Heal, and that's a huge, huge, huge burst of damage. Petrifying Gaze into all of that poison from Cassiopeia. She locked up, was that 3 of the 4 champions? I mean, that was really great.
I think she actually got all 4 of them.
She may have hit all 4. I was paying attention to Vladimir's health pool. He popped his Summoner Heal, somehow surviving. I mean, that was a miracle there how he got it back up. Maybe they might be able to take a counter inhibitor for this. Big Man 16 calling comeback Can the Estonians do it? Can the developers of Skype take out the drinkers of beer? I'm going to have to see. And
It'd be interesting to see which gets used more between the two. If more hours are spent on Skype than drinking beer around the world.
I like that. I think, truth be told, with the 140 of us on the chat and on the stream, more hours would be spent on Skype than drinking beer. Let's not lie about that. And yeah,
Wolves doing really well actually on their way back from that small push that they got. Just checking to see if Dragon's up. Obviously getting Baron and giving them that 300 gold each, pulling them slightly closer in the gold. There's still a 10k difference, but a Dragon would have helped that gap as well.
Yeah, well, I would have pulled it back by another 1,000 gold. I mean, 190 per player. It's a big chunk. So we're hitting a 40-minute game at the moment, guys. We may need to follow the winner of this match in the next round. I'll just have to find out as soon as this match is over. And this is the ESL Champions Club, cup number 41. It's just a social cup, just for some fun and for some bragging rights. And mostly for myself and for Norsey to practice. For those that don't know, my name's Quickshot. I am South African. And I'd like to be getting more and more involved in shoutcasting. So any commentary and or comments, criticism, critique would be welcomed. Share your love and your hate. Skype was named by Janus Fries, a Danish guy. Well, fight! Let's see. Vladimir once again being caught out. Look at that Orb of Deception across. Petrifying Gaze managed to pick up 2 of the 5 champions. Broken Wings coming down from
Charm catching Janna.
And there goes the Infinite Duration onto Cass. So Cass is now down. Janna's gonna go down in the background. Huge focus from Graves onto Riven. In conjunction with the turrets, it's enough to take her out. And super low life Nocturne and Vlad trying to run away, trying to get away. Vladimir doesn't have his Sanguine Pool. Flash plus Hungering Strike is almost enough to save Vladimir, and he gets away. Sanguine Pool comes off cooldown. Paranoia from Nocturne comes in, so during this entire fight, Nocturne still hadn't used his Paranoia. 2 for 3, but it's going to cost them another inhibitor. Yes, they did manage to pick up Siva, and yes, they did manage to pick off Riven, but losing 3 players and losing yet another inhibitor, it's only a matter of time before PHL can close this out. And yeah, I've got to agree with ESPINX, or Sphinx. That dude, it just seems as though a little bit of indecisiveness, and I don't want to hate on Riv's master, but it's pretty obvious he doesn't play a lot of Vladimir. His Sanguine Pool timing is a little bit off. He's a bit rushing on that Hemo Plague ability. So, you know, I think maybe having played a few more champions or played a few more games of the champion might just help a little bit more.
40 minutes in, and we're seeing 3rd Dragon go down.
Yep, 3rd Dragon at
PHL
40 minutes. 3rd Dragon at 4 minutes. Look at the items. Let's pull up the tabs again. Soraka just going for stats. Take a look at that. Giant's Belt, no Magic Mantle, Cloth Armor. Just going for the HP, just going for the armor. That's the main focus. And mid inhibitor is up, so that means the bottom inhibitor will be back shortly.
Very brave Warwick and Ari. I mean, I know they're ahead, but 2 on 5 is odds that you don't really want. Meeting up with the rest of their team in the middle.
Alright, and it is for SpinX, or SpinX. SpinX! Gonna give you the awesome arm moves there. Having a look at the minute, yeah. 3rd Dragon of the game in 40 minutes. We've only had 1 Baron as well. Normally when watching higher tier games, this would be time for 2nd, maybe even 3rd Baron, depending on how strongly the teams are going and how strongly the matches are going. This is the first round of the Champions Club. The game should be over fairly soon, with the fact that PHL are so far ahead, 11,000 gold. They've got all 3 inhib turrets down. They've got 2 nexuses, 2 inhibitors down, or 1 inhibitor down, sorry. They're going to be able to push quite quickly. By the way, guys, what's this? What's up with the announcer voice? If it's the announcer voice with regards to my stream, part of the reason I've dropped the volume on that, so we'll have to see what happens. Maybe that's part. There's a huge charm or deception, completely melted. Hemo Plague going down and not hitting anybody there at all. Petrifying Gaze only managing to catch Soraka, so that's the worst Petrifying Gaze of the match thus far. Ari is going to be able to get away with her life after having Shirley's Reverie, and that's going to be a near ace And look at the focus, and look at that brilliant damage from PHL. Nearly no damage on any of the rest of the champions other than Ari. Ari is going to get picked off by a turret, somehow managing to pick up the aggro on that one, and that's a little bit unlucky. Not even sure how that happened. Congratulations to the Belgians. PHL or Falun managing to pick up the first victory. Let's have a quick look at the final game score. Have a look at the table there. I'm going to quickly just, that's Alt-1. There's the scores, guys. I'm going to leave it up for just a few seconds. I'm going to start organizing with the rest of the teams for game number 2. I've got about 10 million messages. And it looks as though we might be able to jump straight into round number 2. Just double checking my messages here. Ooh, where is this chat box? There we go. So congratulations to Feldin. So I'm sorry, I was calling it PHL, but I think that is because of their tags. Let's put the camera back up. Well played to Feldin, taking out Team Wolves in the first round of the ESL Champions Club.